What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. Happy Tuesday, people. And do you know what? This is the start of that period where you realize, like, damn, we're in the international break right now. This is the really boring part of it as well, where the international games haven't started yet, but at the same time, you know, we realize we've got over a week until club football comes back. So this is where you got to get busy, people, and do something to occupy yourself for this 10-day period. But big up to everyone locked in. Just because there isn't no club football doesn't mean there isn't any news. And there is news to talk about today surrounding Arsenal. And we're going to get into it. Big up to everyone locked in. Hope you're well. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe as well. Big up to everyone locked in. Some of you didn't get the intro again. I'm not going to run it back. YouTube are doing this at the moment, where they tend to play an advert at the start of a stream, which is crazy, but, you know. Hey, early, I'm only 5 minutes. Okay, my bad, people. Big up Shinobi said, bless up Curtis, I'm late, but I made it. Steppers, international break is where you get horrible jobs in your life out of the way. You put up the shelf. You know, you cut the grass, whatever you need to do, people. Big up Nando as well. You're well. Big up see you, Net. Big up everyone who tuned in yesterday and everyone who tuned in for the OG show that we did as well. Me and Turkish. And we'll be doing that again next week. And I may even do a couple of international watch-alongs as well. Simon said they always run the ads for me. I thought it was just my settings. I don't know why they do that. Cody Mystified said, I'm on premium and don't get ads. I also don't see the intro. That's crazy. OG's was funny as hell. Yeah, Turkish and the Crocs, wearing Crocs out on the road was the discussion. He also said he had furry Crocs. He had a couple pairs, some normal ones and some furry ones. The banter was flying yesterday. I have to admit myself, I do have a pair of Crocs, but I don't wear them on the road. I might cut the grass in them. I might, you know, take the rubbish to the bin and stuff like that, but you know, I ain't really wearing them out on road. Furkish, we was calling him, you know. But big up to everyone locked in, man. Bivalve, Bertobiev, that's the only saving grace. Yeah, big fight, big fight. Intro only runs for members. I ain't got a clue. Don't ask me, people. I don't know what YouTube's doing. But anyway, let's talk about Arsenal and let's talk about the latest news, people. A number of things going off. We'll talk transfer news as well. But we're going to start off with some injury news. Now, I would like to think that this was dark arts rather than something for us to worry about. So it was revealed last night. Thomas Partey has withdrawn from Ghana's upcoming AFCON qualifiers against Sudan. A statement from the Ghana FA is, Thomas is unable to join the Black Stars due to medical issues he is currently experiencing. His club has scheduled him for further tests in the coming days. Apparently it's an illness. They're saying it's some sort of illness. It's not an injury. It is an illness. And apparently, what I read was that it was some sort of flu. Like he's got flu or something like that. Now, I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. Is it dark arts? I think Arsenal have to get more savvy with this. Yeah, listen, we've all been there, people. You wake up, your nose is a bit snotty and you got a bit of a cough. And you think, you know what, it's Monday. Don't really want to go to work today. Yeah, listen, boss, I've got flu. I've got flu, mate. I'm not. Are you sure it's flu? Yeah, I feel terrible. It's a little bit of a cough. A bit of a cold. Honey and lemon. You get through that real quick. He's thrown one in. Happy days. Hopefully, obviously, it's nothing crazy. I think it is dark arts from Arsenal. And I like it. I like it, people. Yeah? If someone's got a knock, they ain't going. If they've got a cold, they ain't going. Stop these guys travelling and playing. We see City, we see Liverpool, Man United used to do it back in the day. Oh, he's pulled out of the international squad with a knock. He got a little kick. This is what we need to do. People don't understand. They think sometimes I'm harsh. You've got to be ruthless as a football club. You've got a cold, you're not going on international duty. You got a bruise from a kick, you're not going. Relax. Hopefully it's nothing too serious, of course. They are doing further tests. It's that time of the year in England. I don't know about other countries, but definitely here. We're starting to get a lot of rain. It's damp. It's getting cold. A lot of people are getting colds and flu and things like that. And, he's probably caught a cold. It was funny. Well, maybe not funny. I don't know if anybody saw Saliba arriving with the French national team. But it was absolutely hammering down with rain. And there was people in the comments saying, get Saliba out of the rain. He's going to get flu. He's going to catch a cold. Go and watch that training session. It is torrential rain. And you could see Saliba was cold. I said, brother, you better not send him back to Arsenal with flu. We got big games coming up. That's our main defender. So, yeah, I think it is dark arts. And we need to do that. We have to be more ruthless with that. Saliba said, bro, playing him at right back gave him an illness. Yeah, he's probably had dizzy spells ever since. Cormac said, Curtis, would you go into coaching in the future? I did think about it when I stopped playing professionally, but it's very, how can I put it? Coaching is very cliquey. First of all, you need to have the right connections. Second of all, unless you're at the top level of coaching or at a big football club in a big role, coaching in this country is not generally that well paid. I've got to be honest. And also, England is one of the most expensive countries in the world to do your coaching badges, which is why a lot of coaches in England, they fly to different countries to do their badges. So there's a lot of things that go against coaching in this country. Very cliquey, very expensive to get your badges, and not that well paid unless you're at a top club in a big role. So overall, it just didn't really make sense. If I ever did do it, I would have set up maybe my own sort of coaching academy, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, you definitely. I mean, I know enough people, but a lot of hours, not great pay. Doesn't make sense as you get older. Tong said, how tall are you, Big C? What was your playing style like? I think I'm about 6'2", 6'3". Playing style. It's funny, when I was younger, I was very quick. Used to play on the shoulder, very quick. Striker, tall, fast. And then when I was a teenager, I got Osgood's, which is a very common injury. A lot of you will know about it if you played football when you was younger. It's like a growth injury, so just below your kneecap. Comes from overplaying if you play too much football. And I got that injury quite bad in my teens, and it changed my game a little bit. So after that, I wasn't quite as fast. I was still quick, but I was like very quick. And then after that injury, I was like, probably went from like 90 pace on FIFA to like 85 pace on FIFA. So yeah, man, I got Osgood's, and my style changed a little bit, man. Probably turned into more of like a Karim Benzema kind of striker. Hold up, play, link up, some pace, and, played like that. Stop lying, Broad says otherwise. Broads, he was doing all the dirty work, just elbowing defenders for me, But yeah, man. Yeah, Osgood slat. That's a very common injury in football. Usually happens in your teens if you play loads of football. That's what SV2 had, yeah. And I know E-Man as well. Met him a few times. Drop them clips. Yeah, well, listen, I might do some streams about football. Man said 55 pace. Hey, relax, bro. I'm still probably 80 pace now. Still can do something. Oh, is that true? Peter, this could be the best news of the day. Is Ten Hag staying? People, let me know. I need to see this. Is Ten Hag staying at Manchester United? This will be the best news of the international break. I want a new contract. Give him more time. He deserves it. He's done an unbelievable job at Man United. He really has. I can't see nothing about it. Rome wasn't built in a day. I mean, it's not official sources. But yeah, some people are saying he's staying. We'll have a look. We'll have a look. I'm checking now. Damn, you just made me realise I have that. But yeah, man, basically just below your kneecap, your shin bone. And Osgood's basically makes that bone push out of your leg a little bit. Just a little bit, and it hurts. Hurts when you run. Yeah, it's not official. It's not official, Ten Hag. I'm looking now. No official sources are reporting it. There's rumours that he is staying, but I wouldn't be so sure. I hope he does stay, though. But yeah, man, Southgate isn't a bad replacement. Oh, listen, I would love Southgate to get the Man United job. It'd be incredible. That'll be even funnier than Ten Hag, I think. Manchester City are winning the case against the Premier League. Yeah, I read a little bit more into it. I think that sort of sponsorship situation with the Premier League is sort of separate to the 115. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Long way to go. Chris said, speaking as a centre-back, I hated playing against man like Broads. Painful days in low. Oh, bro. He's a dream for me as a strike partner because he just goes and basically fights the centre-backs. He loves elbowing and all, and then I just get the bits and just start scoring. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's like Niall Quinn and Kevin Phillips, you know. One's throwing the elbows and one's reaping the rewards, you know. But anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. Like you said with Man City, we have to concentrate on ourselves. We've got to make sure we win games and win trophies ourselves, regardless of what happens with them. Let's talk about Martin Odegaard. Ben Jacobs, friend of the channel, has put out a story saying Arsenal are hopeful that captain Martin Odegaard will be involved in their Premier League clash with Liverpool on October the 27th, despite him still being weeks away from full fitness. What do you guys make of that? I mean, that would be incredible news for Arsenal. If they could get Martin Odegaard back for that game. I mean, like I said, after this international break, the fixtures start to get a little bit more challenging. There are some, of course, but we play Bournemouth away and Shakhtar at home. After that, it's Liverpool, Preston, Newcastle, Inter Milan and Chelsea. Newcastle, Inter and Chelsea all away from home. Preston away from home, but obviously would be a much changed team. I mean, it's the 8th of October now. We play Liverpool on the 27th. So you're looking at 19 days, just short of 3 weeks for Martin Odegaard to be back. I mean, is he 3 weeks away from being back? He's not back in training yet. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. I hope he's right. Of course, it's a big game and we'd love to have him back. But is he that close to being back? I think for him to be available for that game, he's going to have to be in training in the next week to 10 days because with those ankle injuries, you have to be very careful. You have to be very careful. You've got to get through a lot of things in training before they'll declare you fit enough to play in a competitive game. So with it being 19 days away, you would think by the end of next week he would have to be back in training. Is he anywhere near being back in training? I'm not sure. So we'll see. But Odegaard, listen, we've done very well with Odegaard missing. We still haven't lost a game. And I think Trossard's done well in there, particularly in the last couple of games. But we can all see that we're a better team with him in the side. And we do need him back sooner rather than later. The annoying thing is, and the frustrating thing is, Arteta in every press conference is reluctant to give a time period for him, which always kind of concerns me when he's not willing to say when a player's going to be back and available. That almost makes me think they're not sure how long he's going to be out for and could be out for a while. So Odegaard would be huge for us. But will he be back for that game? 27th, 3 days later we play Preston. 2 days after that, we play Newcastle. Then 4 days after, Inter. We play Inter Milan in a month. Chelsea just over a month. Maybe that is a more realistic aim than Liverpool. But we don't know. Behind the scenes, maybe he's making a lot of progress and they're just keeping it quiet. We'll have to see. Jack said I had Osgoods at 12 years old. Career was finished at 15. It can be a very serious injury. A lot of players have had it. I think Gerrard and Wayne Rooney had it. Unknown C said, I hope Nwaneri gets some game time. Should be bedding him in with the easier games. I think the problem is that you don't actually get many games now, do you? Where you can look at it and go, that's an easier game, so we'll give him game time. He got the game time against He got the game time against Bolton, which was good. Couple of goals. Preston will be a harder game. Championship club away from home. But then apart from that, you would have looked at Southampton at home as a potential game where you would have said, okay, give Nwaneri a start. And look how that game ended up working out. You know, it became a difficult game. We had to come back and score late goals. So I think that's the difficulty. But if you trust him, you've almost got to just throw him in from the start in a game and say, listen, we believe that you can produce something in that role. We don't want to see Havertz dropping into the attacking midfield role. It just hasn't worked for him. He's far better up front. So I think with Nwaneri, we've just got to be patient. I think there's this urge from the fans to see Nwaneri get starts. And even from me, I would love to see Nwaneri starting games as well. But I think we've just got to sort of be patient with it. Hopefully he does get game time, even if he's just coming off the bench. Master of Disaster said, I watch Inter every game of this season. Lautaro under form at the moment. Thuram is the main attacking scorer. Right side non-existent. Whole attack goes from the left. DeMarco is the danger. Interesting. We'll see. I think it would be huge if we could go there and beat them. When I have watched them, I think they're good, but I don't think they're amazing. But the San Siro, Champions League, that pedigree, it's an atmosphere that you have to deal with. Regardless if Nwaneri is ready or not, he's going to need to play. ESR and Fabio are gone. I mean, this would have been the opportunity for him to play, and he hasn't. But I think we just got to be patient. I think we just got to be patient. Somebody just said there, I missed that one. There we go. Have you heard his interview, Curtis? He said he ain't far away. I didn't hear that. So hopefully he is. Richard said, #1 Arsenal channel, do you think, bro? Of course, man. What are we doing this for? If you ain't trying to be the best, don't even bother turning up. Simple as that, people. We're here to be #1, you know? Inter a bit like us, very organised, but not the best attack. I do rate their manager very highly, Simone Inzaghi. I think he's done a fantastic job there, really has. To get to a Champions League final, win the title with Inter Milan, unbelievable job he's done there. I think he's a manager that a lot of clubs should be looking at if they feel that they need to move on with the manager that they've got. Anyway, people, let's talk transfers now. Let's talk transfers. Couple of rumours going around today. Ricky Bobby settings, man. If you're not first, you're last. Exactly. That's how we're moving, people. We're turning up to be #1. Usain Bolt settings, lightning celebration. No Asafa Powell, no Justin Gatlin, no none of that business. That's all we're here for, people. Anyway, let's talk transfers. Let's talk about that man, Benjamin Sesko, a.k.a. Benjamin Tesco, a.k.a. I'm staying at Leipzig, the Red Bull energy drink. Charles Watts put out a report today in Caught Offside. And it's interesting what he says. And as I said, Charles Watts, I've met him before. And listen, the Ivan Toney story is a story I didn't agree with. He may know something I don't. So fair enough. If it was true, then fair enough. But from what I heard, there was a lot of, PR around that story, shall we say. But anyway, he does work closely to the club, so maybe at times he does know things. And he said, listen, I still think there is a chance Arsenal will revisit their interest in Benjamin Sesko at some point, maybe even next summer. A lot of groundwork was done before the summer window, and I don't believe there has been any sort of breakdown in relationship behind the scenes just because Sesko opted to stay put. He said, I'm sure Arsenal understood his decision at the time because, to be honest, it made a lot of sense from a footballing and development point of view. Look at how things have gone. Sesko is playing regularly and he's scoring goals and he's developing nicely. Will Arsenal go back for Benjamin Sesko? Now, I was reading up on this and the energy around the fact that he rejected us. And because it's funny, this is what I find interesting with these newspaper reporters and things like that is when we're being linked with Sesko, it was like he's perfect for us. He's exactly what they want. Then when he rejects Arsenal, the narrative turns to, they didn't quite think he was ready and Arsenal don't mind, blah, blah, blah. And then Arsenal want to go back for him the following year, apparently. You know, I just find it interesting the way the narrative changes. He's perfect. Then when he says no, he wasn't ready to join us. He wasn't good enough. He wasn't developed enough. You know, it's crazy. At the end of the day, the guy rejected us to stay at Red Bull Leipzig. It's as simple as that. Now, yeah, we can dress it up and say maybe he didn't want to come to Arsenal because we didn't guarantee him first-team football, and Havertz was probably seen as the number one striker. But I still have a little bit of a thing of, you turned us down. You turned us down. You know, this is Arsenal. We're a far bigger football club than Red Bull Leipzig. Should he not have backed himself and said, actually, I will go to Arsenal and I'll push Havertz out of the team and I'll get in that team? You know, so I don't know. Listen, it's football. It's football. You know, sometimes you have to take out emotion and just deal with it as a business. Just looking at some of the details, Sesko's previous contract with Leipzig, which was £50,000 a week, had a £55 million release clause. This release clause has been removed from the new contract. Apparently, there is a gentleman's agreement in place that if a major club came in for him next summer, they wouldn't stand in his way if they got a suitable offer. However, it's believed now that Leipzig would want around £65 million, which is close to 80 million euros. So, Sesko, who is at Leipzig with a Pender. I was speaking about a Pender yesterday with Turkish, who rates him highly. He's 22, nearly 22 years of age, 6'5". He started the season well, 2 goals, 2 assists in his opening league games. He scored 3 in the Champions League, and he's got 1 in the German Cup. I suppose the thing is, if you're paying 65 million for Sesko, are you not better off paying 80 million for Gyökeres? Now, I know Gyökeres is a few years older, but Gyökeres is tearing the place up. Now, I know people will say it's the Portuguese league and, you know, there's still levels to go, but Champions League debut, he got man of the match. I mean, Gyökeres got 11 goals in 8 games and 1 assist. Scored in the Champions League and scored in the Cup and scored for Sweden already a few times. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? I think the problem, and I stand by this, I think the problem that Arsenal have got at the moment with the striker situation, Arteta loves Havertz, Arsenal love Havertz. There is no doubt about that. They love Kai Havertz. 275 grand a week, 5-year deal, 65 million. That tells you everything. They love this guy. I'm still not fully convinced that Arsenal are going into the market thinking, let's spend a huge amount of money, huge wages, and get some blockbuster striker through the door that is possibly going to push Havertz out of the side. I think they want someone that's a little bit younger, that's going to have more patience about being rotated, and that also isn't going to demand a ridiculously high wage. That's what I think is the situation with Arsenal. I think that's why they didn't go for Osimhen. They didn't go for Gyökeres in the summer, because they knew that those strikers were going to demand first-team football. I think the reason they wanted Sesko was because they thought 20 years of age, playing for Leipzig, not massive wages, he will come to Arsenal and be rotated with Havertz. And I think that's why they were interested more in somebody like him. Listen, DV said, isn't Havertz doing his job? He is, but we have to see how much he continues to do that job. Does he score enough goals? Does he lead us to a title? Does he win us a Champions League? We will see. He's doing well, but he has to continue to do well. So, and listen, even if you've got a fantastic striker, you probably need somebody that can put pressure on him. Arsenal won titles back in the day because even though they had Henry, even though they had Bergkamp, they had Wiltord. They had Kanu. They had Edu on the bench. They had competition for places. Keown on the bench. You have to have an elite squad. So I don't want anybody to think I'm saying here that Havertz isn't good enough. Havertz is doing well. Havertz is doing well, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't have another top quality striker that maybe is even better than him, or will put pressure on him. Because at the moment, the reality is Gabriel Jesus is not putting pressure on Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz knows every week if he's fit, he's starting. He's starting. And you have to have that at the top level. You've got to have that, people. There's a rumour today that Odegaard is not happy at Real Madrid, not getting enough game time. You know, and that's the level. That's the level that you need, people. So anybody who watches Brahim Diaz, not Brahim Diaz, sorry, he's the other player at Real Madrid that apparently has been complaining about not playing. Anyone that watches Sesko on a regular basis, how good do you think he is? Is his game going up a level? He does look a live wire. For 6'5" or 6'4", he's very mobile for a player of that height. But I'll be honest, I watch Leipzig the odd time in the Champions League. I very rarely watch the Bundesliga unless Bayern Munich are playing or someone like that. So you guys let me know. How good do you think he is? I was reading a few articles on him and people are saying his all-round game is improving. A lot of his hold-up play and link-up play was criticised. But people saying he is improving. As I said, 14 league goals last season in 31 games, which is not amazing. Openda actually got 24 goals last season. But he has got 3 goals in 2 Champions League games. He scored 1 in 1 cup game and 2 goals in the Bundesliga. Let me know. Chris said he's a good player. I can't lie. Marco said Gyökeres is far better. Can rise Dzeko's prime level, but not beyond that. Is he that sort of player? Hole Up said, I just can't convince myself of Sesko, man, but if Arteta wants him, there must be something I'm not seeing. Gyökeres is also much older, but, I mean, Gyökeres is still, what? He's 26. You know, are we looking at 26 as being old now? Some players don't even hit their peak at that age. From what I've seen, I like Gyökeres more. I just think he's more ruthless in front of goal, but he is more expensive and he is older. But we'll see what happens. This seems to be a summer move. William said, Curtis, has the cup-tied rule been abolished? If we sign Gyökeres in January, can he play for us? That's a good point. I actually don't know that. And I'm going to try and find out as we speak. Champions League cup-tied rule. Let's have a look. Cup tied operates primary regulations state that with a few exceptions, players who play in any European club competition are subsequently cup tied with respect to all European football for the remainder of the season. So, yeah, it sounds like you can't play in the Champions League for 2 different clubs. 2 new players you can register. I know you can register new players in it. See, you're telling me different answers here. Some of you saying he can, some of you saying he can't. This is Wikipedia, it's saying, but maybe that's old. Maybe that's old. Cup-tied rules. Can January signings play in the Champions League? Let's have a look. Well, I know January signings can, but we're looking at if you've already played. Hopefuls are allowed. Yeah, you're allowed to register new players in January. Some of you saying he can, some of you saying he can't. Oh, maybe they can change. Maybe you can. This website saying you can. You can register 2 new players in the Champions League, even if they've played for a team who's played in the competition that same season. Wow, I've got 2 totally different answers here, so maybe you can. Yeah, I think as long as it's not the knockout stage. Rule change after we bought Aubameyang. Oh, there you go then. Yeah, I think in the groups then you can. I think you can maybe. Rule change 3 years ago. Players can play in the Champions League. They play in a different club in the current season. 2 players. Oh, there we go. So there's no excuse. There's no excuse. Gyökeres has got a release clause as well. So there you go. You learn something new every day. Big up the community. Big up the community, people. Haaland did for Dortmund. Yeah, listen, like I say, Sesko for me, I haven't watched enough of him to really say that is the guy. Openda's actually the one that seems to be the bigger goal scorer. Openda, again, even though he puts up numbers, I'm not totally convinced by him. I know Turkish he's a fan of him. He's got great numbers. I mean, last season, 24 goals in 34 games. He's got 4 in 6 this season, but he just looks like a Belgium Jesus to me. So we'll see. We'll see with that one. What do you guys think about Benjamin Sesko? Should Arsenal go back for him? I think one thing's for certain is that the striker market is very limited right now. You've also got to remember that Victor Osimhen has a £65 million release clause in January. He can be bought from Napoli in a permanent in January, even though he's on loan at Galatasaray. So to think that was a guy that was going to cost 100 million, you can now get him for 65 million. I mean, I don't know how he's doing in Turkey at the moment. 2 goals and 2 assists in 3 league games. So he started fairly well. And he got 1 assist in the Europa League game. So there's options. The striker market is very, very limited at the moment. You're basically signing players who've had 1 or 2 good seasons. There's no real top quality out there that has been proven for a long period of time. You've got Omar Mamouche, who plays for Frankfurt at the moment, Egyptian international. He's sort of come out of nowhere, finished the back end of last season well. 12 goals, 6 assists. He's got 8 goals and 4 assists in 6 games so far this season. The problem with those players, it's just like, you don't know if they're just an average player who's hit a hot streak, or are they genuine quality? I mean, last year, Guirassy was the guy at Stuttgart. He scored 28 goals in 28 games. Dortmund took a punt on him. He's got 3 goals in 4 games and also 3 and 2 in the Champions League. So he's done the business as well. So it's difficult. You have those players. Yeah, Jovic. Jovic was a player like that. Did well 1 minute in, where was he? In the Bundesliga 1 minute. The next minute he was at Real Madrid. And it never worked out for him at Real Madrid. And he's sort of fallen back down the ladder. The striker market is very difficult. Yeah, Michael Ricketts, you know, 1 season wonders. Remember Papi Cisse at Newcastle, who scored that amazing goal over Peter Cech? Him and Demba Ba were unbelievable. Next minute, Cisse just disappeared. So it's very difficult. It's very difficult. Which is why I like the more established players. Sesko already 9 goals club and competition this season. He might be that guy. He might be. He might be. Remember, Hulk was crazy, wasn't he? He always used to score bangers, but he just used to go to clubs for big money. He went to Russia. I think he went to China. He had a great left foot. Michu. Remember Michu? Used to run off doing that. He was a baller, though. I can't lie. He was a streets won't forget player. He was definitely a baller. For a year or two, him and Bafétimbi Gomez at Swansea, they were streets won't forget players. Michu, man. I always liked him as a player. Duran at Villa. I think Villa are going to run into a situation in the next 6 months where they've probably got to move one of them strikers. Because you've got Ollie Watkins, who's their main man. I think he's their top earner. He got a new 4-year deal, but he turns 29 this season. And you've got Duran, who's 20, who looks like a serious talent. He's going to be too good to sit on the bench long term. So somebody might be able to get him out of there. Juan Pablo Angel at Villa. He was a good one as well. Wilfred Boney did well at Swansea. Next minute he's at City. Never happened for it. Hey, big up my boy Turkish. 20% off Crocs. Use the code Furkish20, people. I'm telling you. You should be emailing them today saying you want a sponsorship deal, bro. You have to. You have to. Big up Furkish in the chat, man. I'm sure he's in the office wearing the Crocs as we speak. Big up. Did you hear about Ronaldinho's son signing for Burnley under-21? João Mendes. Wow, you wouldn't think Ronaldinho's son would end up in Burnley, would you, of all places? But you got to make it where you can, people. You got to make it where you can, you know. If you can't get him in Barcelona, then Burnley it is, you know. But yeah, Benjani. Remember, who else? Who was the other brother, man? Yakubu. Yakubu was a bit of a Donny as well back in the day. Like, he had a couple big seasons. Adama was being linked with 70, 80 million pound moves. And then you look at him the other day, man, he can't finish his dinner. He had 3 1-on-1s against Manchester City, that guy. Missed all of them. He played so bad. Pep had to go up to him at the end of the game and just give him some advice. Say, listen, bro, this is how you need to score your chances. You know, because they would have beaten Man City if Adama could have finished. 3 one-on-ones, and he didn't score one of them. Absolutely. Listen, if Adama could finish, he would be an elite winger, but he's just a greased up pace merchant who looks like he's been in Diddy's bathroom. He's so greased up. But Adriano was elite, bro. I'd say Adriano was beyond Streets Won't Forget. Like, he was potentially the next big thing. He was like a superstar. And I see pictures of this guy holding shotguns in the favelas in Brazil. Like, he's fully like, he ain't coaching or anything. He's literally like in the favelas doing madness. He was a superstar. His left foot was a sledgehammer, man. Balotelli as well, man. He had crazy, crazy ability. Crazy ability. I think sometimes with those players, they're so talented that they don't work as hard. I think they're so talented that they like, I'm just a sick baller. You know, like Ado Tarapt and Quaresma and them guys there. I think they're genuinely so talented that they won't run for a brick wall. You know, like a James Milner. James Milner's a man that's going to train like a lunatic, run for a brick wall, great attitude. I saw a story once with Frank Rijkaard where he said he used to give Ronaldinho extra days off because he couldn't teach him anything. Said literally he was that good, there was nothing I could hardly teach him. He said they just brought him into training just to keep him fit. So he said I just used to give him extra time off. There was no point in being on the training ground. And I think sometimes those players, you look at these Balotellis, Adrianos, Quaresmas, so talented. How have they not made it to the very top of their game? You know, how have they not become absolute? Robinho genuinely, I think I said this last week, a video came up on Twitter, you know, these compilations. I saw a video of Robinho, I'm like, that guy's one of the most skillful players I've ever seen. Like, and he did have a good career, AC Milan, Real Madrid, but those guys should have been at the very top of the game. You wonder how these guys didn't make it. Ravel Morrison, to this day, Ferguson says the best player he ever coached in the youth team. Ben Arthur was unreal. Pato, pace. AC Milan always wanted him at Arsenal. What happens to these guys? How do they not make it to the top of their game? I don't know. I think they're so talented, and their lifestyle off the pitch. A lot of those guys, they've got that sort of bad boy image as well, aren't they? Balotelli and Ben Arthur and these guys, Ravel Morrison. Ravel's a big Arsenal fan as well. You see that interview with that Adam where he's like, yo, Man United, and he's like, yo, bro, I'm an Arsenal fan, man. What are you talking about? Just because I'm from Manny don't mean I'm a Man United fan. Big up Fitz, he said, Sesko, another gutless project, and you wonder why I don't rate Arteta. I think Arteta's convincing, Fitz. These are quite mild compared to what he's been saying on the member streams. But big up Fitz. Do I really want Sesko at Arsenal? I feel like with Arsenal, we've waited so long. Let's be honest, Arsenal haven't replaced Aubameyang, right? Aubameyang was the last clinical goal scorer that we had at this football club. Havertz is becoming a quality striker, but there's still hurdles to overcome yet. Maybe he can get there. We signed Jesus for 45 million. It didn't work. We tried to go with Lacazette after Aubameyang went. That didn't work. I don't really want to see Arsenal sign a project striker. And I still feel like Sesko looks like a project. It looks like, you know, buying something and trying to restore it. I want something ready-made that's just ready to go. Now, whoever that is, whether that means you get Isak at a slightly lower price because he's been a bit injury-prone, then so be it. Or is Gyökeres the man? Do you get him? Do you go back for Osimhen? I just think it's time for Arsenal. I think we're in a position right now where if you're buying a squad player, I don't mind you buying a project. If you're signing somebody to go into the team, I think you need to buy somebody that's just ready to go. That's my opinion of it. That's my opinion. Neymar is a big failure. I think I said this the other week. I think Neymar was the saviour of football. And it didn't work. It was working. He was going to be the best player in the world. He was going to win the Ballon d'Or. Neymar at Barcelona was the man. He was the guy. He was going to take the reins off Ronaldo and Messi. Going to PSG, it messed things up. It was money motivated. And I saw a thing that when they came back against Barcelona, not against Barcelona, when he was at Barcelona and they came back against PSG. When they got battered in Paris, Emery was the manager and obviously they came back and won. I saw a story that if you watch that game back, Neymar was the best player on the pitch. He set up the winner, scored the free kick. I think he might have even scored 2. And the next day, the main newspaper in Barcelona, I had a picture of Messi with his arms out looking up to the sky. And it was all about Messi. And I read something that day after that game that Neymar was sort of saying, no matter what I do at Barcelona, I will never get the credit. I will always be in Messi's shadow. So he tried a thing. He tried to go to Paris and win the Ballon d'Or and win the Champions League, and it didn't work. You know, it didn't work. Which is a shame because I think he was the guy. I still think he was the next best footballer after Messi and Ronaldo, but his career is just, it's fizzled out. Joe said we are past Sesko. We need to look for better. I kind of agree with that. Football Transfers rates Sesko higher than Gyökeres. Website hype. Big up Carl, though. Big up Carl. I don't know. Gyökeres looks better for me. White Glove said Mikel definitely has a striker profile. Sesko, Kai Havertz, Vlahovic. Yeah, I think he likes the tall player who can link up play. And Owen said the disrespect to Kai is whack. Let him cook. These other guys are playing in dead leagues. But you got to remember, that's the same league that Havertz came from. And people have to understand, having Havertz and wanting another striker is not disrespect to Kai Havertz. Every Arsenal fan should have that ambition that we can have 2 quality players in each position. I don't see that as disrespect. We don't just need to hand the reins over to Havertz and say, yo, you know the striker position, just own it with no competition. He needs competition. This is top-level football, man. Turkish said, if Rodrigo is available and Havertz continues his trajectory, I would go for him. Rodrigo is top quality. Maybe we go big on the left winger. I know he plays more on the right for Madrid, but he did play on the left. But obviously Vinicius ahead of him. Do you go big for the left winger? Imagine Rodrigo, Havertz and Saka. Maybe. Listen, I think they wanted the left winger this summer. They wanted Nico Williams. I think they were prepared to give Havertz the season as the striker with Jesus as the backup plan. So I think that's probably the thought process. Rodrigo is also complaining right now about his chances. He's been dropped. You see Bellingham cropping him out of pictures as if to say, you know, the big 3 is Mbappe, Bellingham and Vinicius. So, yeah, listen, I think somebody could pay big money for him. Sports Genius said, would you take Adama Traore? Absolutely no chance, mate. Would I take that greased-up turkey? Not a chance. I would not take him. Put him in Diddy's mansion, give him that baby oil. I don't want him anywhere near Arsenal. And I am a Pace Merchant fan, but I don't want him. Definitely don't want him. That is for sure. We're way beyond that. Let's talk about a couple other transfers before we start rounding up. Yeah, basically, Rodrigo, Bellingham, Mbappe, Vinicius, 4 of them take a picture. Bellingham posts the picture, crops out Rodrigo. Says basically, man, you're a side dish. You ain't getting in this picture. This is the big boys. You know what I mean? The big 3, man. You know what I mean? It's sad. Let's talk about... who are we talking about here? Let's talk about Ederson. And I'm not talking about the goalkeeper at Manchester City. Goal in Brazil are reporting Arsenal are keen on Brazilian midfielder Ederson, 24-year-old defensive midfielder who plays for Atalanta as a potential replacement for Jorginho. Ederson, who we saw the other week, actually, I actually wasn't that impressed with him in that game. He was diving all over the place. Havertz clamped him a few times. But he is highly rated. He was being linked with Liverpool in the summer. Defensive midfielder. I'm just looking now. Is he actually in the Brazil squad? Yeah, Brazil have picked him a couple of times. 25 years of age, defensive-minded, box-to-box midfielder. 6 goals last season. 8 yellow cards, no reds. Champions League for Atalanta. Played in the Europa League, was obviously in the team that won the Europa League last season. Again, what do you guys think of him? I'll be honest, I've seen him a few times. He looks decent. I don't really know how good he is. So, again, if you guys watch him more often, let me know in the community. He's valued at around £45 million by Atalanta. They want at least £45 million for him, but they are willing to let him go. I'm just looking here. What's his contract situation? How good do you guys think he is? Would you take him? His current contract. Let's have a look. And how much money is he on? He's got 2 caps for Brazil. He's contracted until 2027, so he's got 2 years left in the summer. And he currently earns £40,000 a week. I mean, we've got young players getting more than him. £45 million. Leigh said he's tenacious, but I'll go get Zubimendi for £5 million more. That's a good point. 50 million. Will Zubimendi end up at Liverpool? Will they go back in for him? Jetto said get Quintin Timber for our new 6'8". Obviously, Jurian's brother. He got a man of the match in the Champions League last week. Vincent said Ederson is good courtesy. Scored a banger during the weekend. Kugler said he is a baller in my opinion. Logical says go for Timber as well. We need an 8, not a 6. And that's the thing, innit? If you've got Partey and you've got Rice, do we actually need a player that is more in that role? I mean, I suppose they may be looking at it thinking it's a Jorginho replacement, but I think we need the 8 more. I'd rather see us go and get like a Bruno Guimaraes or somebody like that. But we do need a midfielder. LSU said Zubimendi leaving Spain. Not sure that happens. I mean, there are reports, I don't know how true they are, that Zubimendi regrets not leaving. So maybe he does want to leave now. I mean, I think he's probably looking at Liverpool top of the league, and you look at La Liga at the moment, Sociedad are 15th. I mean, they've won 2 out of 9. They've had a terrible start. They're only 3 points outside the relegation zone. Liverpool are top of the league. I think Zubimendi, those mountains that apparently he loves, they may not be as appealing to him right now when you're in a relegation battle. So maybe Zubimendi is attainable. Peter said we just bought Marino, so no, in Arsenal we look at Jorginho profile. Possibly, yeah. Frankie de Jong, I just think the wages, and he's injury prone as well. Go get Joe Bellingham. Nah, it's the wrong Bellingham. We want the real Bellingham. Job looks all right, but I don't think he's anywhere near as good as his brother. Don said, Curtis, my question is he faster than Marino and Jorginho? I mean, I'm sure he is. Surely he can't not be faster, Let's have a look at his FIFA card. Not that this should be the way we gauge how fast a player is, but it's always nice to see. They've given him 72 pace. Not bad. But they've actually given Marino decent pace on the game as well. And he looks ridiculously slow, but I'm going to put it down to the fact he's not fully fit. 72 pace, 85 rating. I hope they know something we don't about Mikel Merino. Hopefully he's quick. But yeah, being linked with Ederson, £45 million will get him out of Atalanta. Was linked with Liverpool. Manchester United had some brief links to him as well. What do you guys think of him? 25 years of age, Brazilian international. Saw him the other week, and I think as Leigh said, he's tenacious. He gets stuck in. Brazil seem to have a lot of defensive midfielders. Fabinho, Casemiro, Douglas Luiz, Ederson. They've got a lot of players that can play that position. I think it's Andre as well, another one who Liverpool were linked with. But yeah, we'll see with that one, people. See how that one develops. Big up to everyone locked in. Nearly 2,000 of you locked in. Hit the like button and subscribe. We're rounding up on these last couple stories. Is Gibbs White due a big move from Forest? Definitely. Gibbs White, I think, at the end of the season gets a move. The problem I've always said, they paid 40 million for him, so I think you've got to pay at least 60 million to get him out of Forest. And I think 60 million is a lot of money for a guy from Nottingham Forest. Murillo as well, he's being linked with Atletico Madrid, the centre-back, and they want big money for him. But yeah, Gibbs White, I think, definitely ends up... I think big clubs will start to look at him. He's a very talented player. He's done well. He's in the England squad now as well, so his value will only go up. Let's finish by talking about Kieran Tierney, the forgotten man of Arsenal. Does he even exist? We don't see him in training videos. I mean, probably because he's injured, actually. But he is on his way. Kieran Tierney has been told he is not in Mikel Arteta's plans anymore. There is no animosity there. He knows the club has moved on and that his qualities as a left-back are not what Arsenal need in the system that they play. I mean, it's sad. You could still probably argue Kieran Tierney would arguably be our best left-back defensively. If you're considering Timber to be a centre-back or right-back, you know, Timber is an animal defensively. Calafiori hasn't looked great defensively, neither has Kivior, neither has Zinchenko. But I think we know this story is up. Apparently the club were going to let him go in the summer, but obviously the injury that he suffered at the Euros was a very bad hamstring tear, not just a pull. And that stopped him from getting a move in that window. And Arsenal have had to keep him and rehabilitate him to get him ready. The rumour is that he will leave in January, even if it's a loan. His contract runs out in 2026. So it may be a case of him just going on loan till the end of the season and then they sell him. Chelsea definitely want him. Celtic want him, but Celtic can't afford his wages. But surely you just let him go there on loan, let them pay part of his wages, and then hope that we can get rid of him in the summer. It's a shame because a lot of people were saying he was going to end up being Arsenal captain, be at the club for years, and it's just fizzled out for him. I think once inverted left-back came into play, that was the end of his story, unfortunately. Listen, good player, but too injury-prone. It's the reality of the situation. Once you're injury-prone, it's going to lead to problems. And this guy has muscular injury problems, which is even worse. They're not even impact injuries. So it's a shame, but will Arsenal actually be able to sell him and get some sort of transfer fee for him? Because he's on £110,000 a week and he hardly kicks a ball. So, yeah, and listen, Tomiyasu's got that same question mark next to him. If you get to the end of the season and Tomiyasu's had an injury-hit season, I'd be looking to move him on. It's as simple as that. And I like Tomiyasu, but he's too injury-prone. So we'll see what happens. Does he end up at Fulham? All our other players end up there. To be fair, they've got Robinson at left-back, who is highly rated, so I actually don't think he would, but you never know. You never know, people. So Kieran Tierney looks like he'll be on his way, people. Listen, thank you very much for everyone tuning in. A little bit shorter show today than usual. Quiet news days, of course. I do think, by the way, with Tierney, if we were going to get him out on a permanent, you'd be selling him for peanuts. Knowing Arsenal, we'd get 5, 6, 7 million for him, to be honest. We sold Leno for 3 million. Which is still unbelievable that he went for that cheap. I think Pepe cost 3 million as well. So I think it would be peanuts. They just want to get him off the wage bill and move forward from there. So we'll see what happens with that. They said he's stronger than a Tesco bag, but if you've ever had a Tesco bag, they're pretty weak and they cost about 20p. So that wasn't a good comparison. You're as weak as a Tesco bag. Listen, big up to everyone locked in. Appreciate your support as always. We will get a member stream in before the international break, probably this week, because this is the quieter week of the two. Next week we're building up for the game against Bournemouth, Saturday night, 5:30 kickoff next week, people. So people, enjoy your Tuesday. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all tomorrow, people. Bless.